There are some people who are significant in their field because they have one really good idea that changes the way that everyone in that industry thinks about what they do. Nick Archdale is not one of those people. Nick's contribution is of greater importance because he's been the source of many good ideas that have changed the way several industries have thought about what they do. He's what we might call a serial innovator. Early in his career, Nick sought to find a way of controlling stage lighting through a common computer interface that he could use for projects he was working on at the time. After opting to withdraw from Imperial College in 1985, he formed the Digital Lighting Desk Company with Tom Thorne and Simon England, developing his first lighting console, which they later used to control generic and automated lighting at the various raves and live events he lit during the 1980s. The experience brought to his attention the need for a new kind of control system, which could cope with the increasing advancement in moving lights and wasn't confined by existing historical conventions. This led him to form a new company in 1991 with fellow innovators Tom Thorne and Niels Thorgerson, which aimed to produce a console specifically for the kinds of shows he liked to do himself, which were parties, gigs and raves. They named the company Flying Pig Systems, as they felt this best expressed the likelihood of them ever successfully launching the new console. But succeed they did, and their first console, the Whole Hog, was released in 1992, winning the Professional Lighting and Sound Association's Product of the Year, and going on to be used on a variety of high-profile concert tours for artists such as Sting and Peter Gabriel. Their entire development cycle for the Whole Hog lasted less than a year, and once it was in production, each console was hand-built personally by Nick. Its successor, the Whole Hog 2, was unlike the existing generation of rock and roll or theatre consoles. One defining quality of a groundbreaking product is that it introduces radical ideas, which changes the way that we think about what we do, quickly becoming accepted and adopted, so much so that looking back they seem obvious, and alternative ways of thinking about something is unimaginable. The Hog 2 brought together some important elements from each field and became the dominant control system in the industry, changing the experience of the average concert goer by enabling a more dynamic performance of the lighting with the music, responding to the immediacy of the live concert experience. It included original features, such as its trademarked effects engine, which applied mathematics to generate lighting effects rather than plotting tedious step chases. Automatic palette generation and touchscreen control, all of which have become industry standards nearly 20 years later and have fundamentally changed the performative use of lighting in live events. Sadly, some of the features have been less widely adopted, such as the Insta-Look feature, which could automatically generate a random lighting look for you when it had been a long day and you'd run out of inspiration. In 1999, the company merged with High-End Systems, and together they launched the Hog 3 in 2002. Again, the console challenged the status quo, and although the product design was widely praised for its radical ideas, it proved to be ahead of its time, with many users remaining reluctant to let go of their beloved Hog 2s and move on to the new platform. However, many of its initiatives we're seeing in modern lighting consoles today, several years later. Flying Pig Systems is important because it was central to the lighting control revolution of the 1990s. And with each evolution of the product line, you can see a marked new era in performance lighting. True to form as a serial innovator, Nick was also instrumental in the development of other groundbreaking products, such as the WYSIWYG, what you see is what you get, visualization software, with Flying Pig Systems providing the seed money for the venture, and even suggesting the name of the product. This revolutionary program enabled a program to plot the lighting in a virtual environment, thus saving on time. A practice which is now widely used in venues such as the Royal Opera House, where there is no time on stage to practically light with the set and the performers. In 2002, he and several others decided that the time was right to move on from the concert lighting industry. It didn't come as a surprise that their new venture, Carillon, moved away from console production and used their innovative approach to software and hardware product design in a wider range of related fields. The Carillon Group has established itself as a leader in the fields of architectural lighting control, product design, and video processing. To understand the importance of their innovative products, you need only look at the London skyline at night, where many of the landmark buildings, such as the National Theatre, are lit in a performative way using the Pharos control system. As technical director, Nick was personally involved in securing some of the Pharos' earliest high-profile jobs, notably lighting of the London Eye, which he programmed himself for many years. Since then, the company's significance has continued to be celebrated, winning most of our industry's innovation awards. Nick's personal contribution to live event lighting has not gone unnoticed, and he's been nominated twice for the industry's prestigious Gotelier Awards. Our industry's history is punctuated by individuals like Nick, who take the initiative and develop their own technology in order to advance and practice the art and craft of live event production. They combine advanced practical skills and techniques with an exceptional ability to challenge and change the way others think about their own field. And they stay in this industry because their work is fueled by something greater than profit. These are the qualities of a master craftsman, and these are the qualities that the students of Bruford College should aspire to achieve. Chair of Governors, I therefore present Nick Archdale, who's to be admitted as an Honorary Fellow of Bruford College.
By virtue of the powers invested in me, I admit Nick Archdale as an Honorary Fellow of Bruford College.
Well, thank you very much. It's a great honour, and my second graduation I've been to, the first one being Tom and Nils's from Stanford in '91, when I went to go and find them to think about setting up Flying Pig. I'm, strictly speaking, supposed to be still doing an engineering degree at Imperial. I've been AWOL for some time. But Brian May finished his eventually, so you never know. I guess I just cover how someone like me ended up here. And I think it's down to some very inspirational people in my life from a very early age, actually. I guess I had older sisters to start with. So when they were teenagers, I was listening to their music. So when I was 6, I kind of fell in love with a band called Genesis, who were all in their early 20s in those days and just starting out. And they had this rather classical, intriguing kind of approach to rock music. And I was taught very well. I went to a little prep school in Hampshire, and there was this amazing classics teacher, Nory Boulting. Funnily enough, the son of John Boulting of the Boulting brothers fame. Your older members will know who they are. And beyond being a terrifying teacher in the best possible way, he was just a maniac about his drama. And so I got the bug for the show very early on. I couldn't really act, but we all were obliged to act. And I guess I was one of the better actors of that little school. But the shows were outrageous. He wrote his own. They were sort of musical. There was a lot of song and dance, very choreography, very musing. I don't think they ever did one serious play. They were all quite light-hearted. And you'd pile. There was no theatre at that school. It was all on the science block. You'd pile the old tables together, and being in the play was a really kind of important status thing. So I don't know Nory's still alive, and I haven't seen him since then. But he was an amazing influence. Then my second school, the influences continued, really. There was this incredible theatre at Radley called the Old Gym. It's not actually a theatre at all. It's an old chapel, sadly demolished last year. And there was a guy there who was a chemist teacher, Jeff Treglown, who is certainly dead, who was an amazing theatre technician and manager, an incredible asset, also in the chemistry lab, also as someone that liked to show, liked theatre, a very, very amazing influence as well on me. But lighting wasn't it. And I couldn't act. Music was my thing, and I wanted to be in a band, but I couldn't really sing. And I could never be bothered to practice, to learn the instruments. So I kind of ended up being the sort of recording technician. And I think my ambition when I was at school was kind of to do something in the music industry, to be a record producer or an engineer or somehow. And I did sound in the theatre. I didn't do lighting. Lighting didn't really strike me as being interesting, actually, until I was allowed to go and see Genesis in 1981. Went up to Birmingham with a mate and his dad. Just done well in my O-levels. I think that's why I was allowed out. And halfway through this set, the lights all magically turned white and spun around and pointed at the singer. And I thought, I said, oh my God, what on earth happened there? That does not go on in the old gym in our theatre. And lo and behold, these guys, it was the first time I'd seen a Verilight, 48 of them, in fact, as I later learned. It felt like there were hundreds when I was seeing it. And I thought, okay, this is interesting. Lighting's quite interesting. And then a colleague at school, that's what you call them, colleagues, came up to me and said, he was a computer geek, and I didn't really like computers at the time. They were useless to me in those days. He said, look, I've got this idea to computerize the school lighting system. And I said, I hear you're quite good at electronics. And I kind of was a hobbyist. I made my own mixing desks and drum kits and things for my sort of studio stuff. And this guy, Simon England, came along and said, have a go, BBC B, and I made a little interface. And I thought to myself, this is interesting. And left school, went to Imperial. That was kind of what I was supposed to do. And legged it in 85, going, hang on, we've got something here. So let's go and do this. And that's met Tom Thorne through him, who's just one of the greatest software people I've ever met. Couldn't have done it without Tom or Simon or Jeff Triglown or Nory Boulting, Neil Thorderson, of course. All those LDs that bought into the whole hog in those early days. Robert Bell, Cast Lighting, WYSIWYG, that was his brilliance. We just provided some cash and a name. They were brilliant. So thank you to them all, really. That's why I'm here. And you lot, well done. I think it's a case of someone said that, tell them how to make some money. I don't think money's relevant, actually. I think you have to follow your heart in this game. Do what you love, if you're lucky. Latch on to good people when you find them. And you might make some money if you're lucky, but that's not really what it's all about. So, thank you very much.
Thanks very much, Nick.